Investigators search for answers after mass shootings in El Paso, Dayton. Video by CBS News. El Paso U officials continued searching Sunday for answers after a gunman killed 20 people and wounded dozens more at a shopping center here, while authorities across in Ohio responded to another shooting rampage that ended with 9 dead. The shooting at a Walmart and shopping center in West Texas, not far from the border with Mexico, sparked panic, grief, and a sprawling investigation, as yet another public place was terrorized by a hail of bullets. The chaotic, but it was a ghastly scene across America, with more than 24 people killed in 2 shooting rampages over the course of a single tragic day. Another were wounded. Authorities in Ohio said that an attacker wearing body armor there opened fire early Sunday morning amid a busy scene of Dayton bars and restaurants. The carnage took the rampage in El Paso hours earlier apparently began outside the Walmart on Saturday morning. A routine morning, law enforcement authorities have delved into the background of 21-year-old Patrick Cruzius, whom 2 officials identified as the suspect who opened fire here. Cruzius, from the Dallas suburb of Allen, surrendered to police, giving officials a relatively unusual chance to directly interrogate a mass shooting suspect. In many cases, there is no universally agreed-upon definition of a mass shooting. Federal law authorities filed a capital murder charge against Cruzius on Sunday, according to court records. No attorney was. Slideshow by Photo Services. The shooting in El Paso set off waves of anger, sadness, and recriminations, fueling calls for stricter gun control as the country reeled from yet another bullet-riddled rampage in yet another city. What may have motivated the attacker remained a focus of investigators, who have examined a manifesto posted online that included screeds against immigrants. Authorities believe the manifesto was another unsettlingly familiar part of the tragedy. It listed angry youth. The shooting has a nexus to a hate crime, El Paso Police Chief Greg Allen said. El Paso Sheriff Richard Wiles, who oversees the jail holding the suspected attacker, called the attack racist in a Facebook post Saturday night. "This Anglo man came here to kill Hispanics," he wrote. "I am outraged." The manifesto found by investigators carried tragic echoes of previous attacks. The alleged shooter, mass violence is often followed by the revelation that the suspected attacker creating a tapestry of tragedy that has linked attacks in Florida and Virginia as well as others in South Carolina and New Zealand. The manifesto the shooting in El Paso was also the latest taking place at a so-called soft target places that, unlike highly secured government buildings, attract large crowds but can be relatively easily infiltrated by an attacker intent on carrying out violence. The Department of The shooting in El Paso was the deadliest American mass shooting since November 2017, when a gunman in Sutherland Springs, Texas. It also the attack reverberated beyond America's borders. Mexican in Ciudad Juarez, just south of the U.S. border, government officials, business groups, and others in the Mexican city released statements of solidarity and sympathy. Behrman reported from Washington. Hannah Knowles.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up.